This is Jim Armstrong with a challenge for you to become a member of our affiliate broadcast network. Now listen, I know you're busy, so we've broken this up into very easy-to-take tracks. Here's the challenge. If you're not still listening by track 4, you get the idea. But if you are, we should be talking about the future, and our contact information came with this disc. Ready? Hang on for the ride.
Okay, gentlemen, going live in 3, 2, 1.
The Automotive Journal is on the air. News, information, and discussion about automotive retail sales with 3 industry insiders. Jim Armstrong.
After this many years in the business, what you see is what you get. And the way I look at it, if you don't want the truth, don't ask me.
Eric Ideman.
Look, I want these people to have as much information as possible. I mean, what are these guys hiding from anyway?
Doc Lane.
I have a reputation for being one of the best general managers in the country. After being in the dealership every day of my life for the last 42 years, I have an insight and an expertise that most will never have.
The Automotive Journal features interviews, your phone calls, and of course, ways to save you time and money. Now, live from Las Vegas, the Automotive Journal.
From the Weldon Studios in Las Vegas, this is the Automotive Journal, broadcasting around the globe on the Desert Sky Network. I'm still Jim Armstrong. On my left and to your right is the impeccably dressed Eric Ideman. Next to him is the hardest working GM in the business, that's Doc Lane. And our resident credit advisor and senior legal analyst, Ian Hirsch, along as always to answer your credit questions. Tonight's episode sponsored by Desert Toyota and Scion of Las Vegas. Write down our toll-free telephone number. You are going to need it. It's 1-866-820-5528. That's 1-866-820-5528. This is the show that focuses on the issues of the automotive industry from an insider's perspective. If you've ever had questions about a car deal you're thinking about, want advice about your credit, or you're just wondering what the heck goes on behind the scenes of a major dealership, this is the show for you.
Ford is in a lot of disarray, continue to have massive recalls. And again, you know, the show is here to identify what's in the news. We don't make the news. If Ford doesn't sell F-150s, you might as well put a 10 over it and they're done.
So now they're relegated to rental car companies is really what's happening now. Is
that is a lot of what their market is now is rental car companies. You'd be surprised how many people call the dealership and say, well, look, I can go right next door and get a Hyundai for $5,000.
Sure, cheaper's not better.
But the Japanese are pretty smart people. They pulled back the Toyota pet, and they came out years later with the Toyota. You're representing a hell of an automobile.
I believe that if you did buy a Kia, you probably should get a package of colonics.
The nice thing about if you make a bad choice at a Toyota dealership, you're not going to lose your shirt overnight in the depreciation of that. Whereas if you bought something else, like a Kia, for example, I mean, it's worth half the next day.
Doc often surprises us with vehicles, but this is an amazing car.
Totally customized 2005 Toyota Camry LE. I got to tell you, Jim, this is a sweet, one-of-a-kind ride.
And we're going to try to make the world's first 200-mile-an-hour Scion.
Well, who's going to be driving it, Aaron?
Doc Lane.
Who's going to be driving it?
No, I'm saving myself for Formula One.
There is really no comparison as far as quality when it comes to us and the other guy, as you eloquently called it.
Yeah, Nick, don't let him get away with it. Please, don't let him get away with it.
The Automotive Journal targets pre-qualified, well-informed, educated buyers who want to know. While our target demographic is 34 to 54-year-old males, the show really appeals to anyone that has an interest in the automotive world, men, women, young and old. Ask our account executive for details on how you can reach them through the Automotive Journal. Thanks again for listening. We'll see you on the air.
Have we got your attention? Click track 2. At the helm, 22-year radio veteran Jim Armstrong.
Very often I have parents who call me and they say, well, my daughter just turned 16, she's got a driver's license, I need to put her in a car. I'm looking for something inexpensive, do you have something $2,000 or $3,000 in cost? And I often respond to them, let me make sure I've got this straight. You want to put your 16-year-old daughter in a $3,000 automobile and send her hurling down the highway at 70 miles an hour. Is that correct?
With 120,000 miles.
Yeah, and I very often what I end up with is a silence on the other end of the phone.
Impeccable dress, impeccable timing. Political commentator and 9-year sales manager Eric Ideman.
And I've had sales managers tell me that when they saw a customer that they had previously sold drive into the lot with the plates on from that dealership, that they ran and they'd hide because they did not want to work with that customer. They knew that that customer was buried.
With connections throughout the world and an experience level second to none, veteran General Manager Doc Lane.
That's the problem sometimes that we have with the CSI ratings, which is the Consumer Satisfaction Index letters that get sent, and how much pressure there is on all of us in dealerships from every manufacturer. And the bottom line of it is the sample is so small that it's not an indicative measurement.
Senior legal analyst for Cristalli and Associates of Las Vegas, Ian Hirsch.
As it turns out, people that get married to somebody with credit problems, it can eventually affect their lives.
The Automotive Journal is a roundtable discussion about current news and information from an insider's point of view. We don't talk about how to repair a carburetor. That's the other car talk. We're the Automotive Journal. I tell you what, here's more.
Neither one of these guys has read Winning Through Intimidation. They're waiting for the movie. This is the Automotive Journal.
The Automotive Journal coming to you live from Las Vegas every Friday night from 7 to 9. I am Jim Armstrong. Eric Ideman is, he's over there somewhere.
That's right.
Yeah, Doc Lane next to him, and Ian Hirsch. Boy, it's sure good to have you around, Ian Hirsch.
Why, thank you.
It gives me somebody to beat on. It's good.
Well, we just made a phone call to our good friend Vince Lupo.
Vince is a good guy. I like Vince.
Just because the air conditioning in the new building's going out.
He's going to take us places.
You like him, but
Denny's,
shouldn't the manager be watching his fighters? I mean,
well, you tell Westwood One I want air conditioning. Let's start with that. I walked into the studio tonight just before we went on air,
it's a girl with a fan.
And I'm noticing that the studio door is wide open. I'm thinking, well, that's odd, but okay, it's acceptable. There's nobody here. Now I know why. And of course, we bust his chops long enough, and Vince Lupo shows up. Vince,
I'll tell you guys, I was changing the oil on my car.
yeah.
Okay, and I was just halfway through rotating the tires when the phone rang.
Well, you're a good man.
Yeah.
All right, let me ask you a question. All right, you're our agent here. Where's the AC?
Actually, there's a truck full of ice headed in your direction right now, guys.
Forget the truck full of ice. We want girls with fans and grapes.
You know, I do have a deep compassion for the elderly and older folks who come in to buy automobiles. And, I'd like to get a little bit of a word out. If a customer comes in and they're 65 or 70 or 75 years of age, hopefully they get the right guidance, that a consumer or a person, and we will hit these specific areas where they will have accessibility to get reliable information from us to guide them through the process.
Right, yeah. And for elderly people, one of the most deplorable things that happens is the way that elderly people are taken by car dealerships. It happens out there. And, there should just be, I'm all for profit. I'm all for people making money. I need to do it. You need to do it. Our listeners need to do it. But there is a line that you just don't cross. And unfortunately, a lot of car dealerships will go and cross that line, and they sleep like babies.
Right.
And it's not right.
Especially some of these young punks that are in our business.
Paul, let's talk to you for a minute. Welcome to the Automotive Journal. Hello.
Yeah, hi, Jim.
What do you think, Paul?
Well, I was listening to your program on the internet last week, and one of the things that really caught my eye was the woman in that Explorer that was killed and rolled over out there in the Mojave. So, it really made me have to rethink what, I was going to do as far as purchasing a vehicle.
Honestly, Paul, I'll tell you the truth. For several days after that report came out, I found myself, anytime I got near a Ford Explorer, slowing down or speeding up to get around it or away from it. Honestly.
I had to do my homework, Jim. And what I found out was that that Explorer is a very dangerous vehicle, and it has been for quite a while.
Is it any coincidence, not to put too much of a slant on it, but is it any coincidence that the Bronco was replaced with the Escape?
Right.
Just putting that out.
But if you're an old-timer, and if you're a nostalgia buff, the top 5 worst cars are, number 1, a Ford Pinto,
That's
You
the
remember
number one
those?
worst car?
Yeah, worst cars. This is in the millennium.
Now, you
is
remember back in the Bay Area when cars were
I
exploding
used
on
to
the
have to make a
freeways.
living to try to sell these things with exploding gas tanks. How about the AMC Gremlin? And, of course, there was the all-time favorite, the Chevette. And then, Eric, the VW bus. You remember that VW
Yes,
bus? And
actually,
you were from
I had
Boston.
my mother had a VW bus.
And I know what it said on there. If you see this van a-rockin', don't bother on
Yeah,
knocking.
right,
Is that how you came
she,
about in
She
Boston?
had one, and I do remember breaking down and smoke flying out of
But
the car.
the ultimate worst car created is a Yugo.
The
Undoubtedly,
Yugo.
without a doubt,
And
a
would you
Yugo.
believe I've actually owned both of those cars? I owned a Pinto, and I actually had a Yugo at one time. You remember Dr. Kevorkian? He actually twice left some of his helped clients.
Customers, yes.
Yes, in an 86 Renault Alliance AMC.
That's true.
Yeah, did that twice.
That's
He said
absolutely
he
right.
bought that for $147, including tax and license.
That's probably not in the advertising.
Eric and Jim, I'm down here at the other side of Turn 1 here at the Las Vegas Speedway. As you can hear the rumble, we're under a red flag currently, temporarily. It looks like it's going to go to yellow. One thing is I notice these spectators, it's a wall of alcohol and liquor. I don't think I've seen as much beer drank in one facility in my entire career. But here we are at turn number 1. We're getting ready to start off again. You can hear the tremendous roar of these high-powered motor vehicles. We're down here next to one of the safety crew, under the caution of a yellow flag. This is being brought to national broadcasting, and I've run into quite a few of our listeners that know us from the Automotive Journal show. Been greeted very, very cordially by the press, a lot of the media people out here. A blustery, beautiful Las Vegas day. There's number 6, Mark Martin in the Viagra car headed back out. Again, this is Doc Lane of the Automotive Journal from the Las Vegas Motor Speedway.
Stephanie, you're on with the Automotive Journal. Hello.
Actually, I'm a first-time buyer, and I need to find out.
Let's say hi to Angelo. Angelo, you're on the Automotive Journal. Hello.
Hey, what about these guys that drive these Hummers? What's up with that?
What's with the Hummers, by the way?
Well, I mean,
Where do you
don't
park
mind
them?
getting 2 miles to the gallon. And
Pretty soon, their junk bonds aren't going to be worth junk.
You know, I have to start to agree with my daughters. I've got a lot of wayward eye towards this George Bush. I watched him at the news conference last night. I mean, this guy is fantastic at skirting a question. I mean, we're depriving our country of a lot of opportunity in business, and we continue to funnel money into adventures and wars and loss of life and creating nothing for anybody.
Now, why would you debate?
Well,
why,
George Bush. Yeah.
Well, you know,
the young Republican sitting to
you've
your
got-
right now
you've
is
got,
fuming. You
me,
understand?
You know, as much as I dislike Clinton, he was the greatest president for the car business.
Well, that's true. I mean, he did a good
Look,
job
George
for the
Bush
car
has a
business.
lot
yeah,
on
we,
his
we,
plate.
we did very well with the 0% interest rate for all vehicles for 3,000 or 4,000 years, didn't we? That worked out well,
Well,
right?
you know,
Bobby, you're on with the Automotive Journal. Hello.
Yeah, I have a question about that Sienna. I've been looking around and I looked at the Odyssey, and I really like that Sienna.
Well, you know, the interesting thing about that, Bobby, is that they just did a comparison through Car and Driver between the Odyssey and the Sienna.
Why don't they give discounts for people who just scrounge up money and just pay cash for a car? They used to, years ago, give nice discounts if you just came right on the spot with cash.
Hi, this is Darlene. I think I know
There
the
you are.
answer.
Hi,
There I am.
Darlene. Now, you say you have an idea where this is.
I do.
All right, where is it?
Is it the Stratosphere?
It is the
right.
Stratosphere.
That's right. Goodness gracious. That's right.
I have Jim Armstrong, Eric Ideman, and Doc Lane, and of course, Mr. Ian Hirsch.
Let's take advantage of the fact that Ian Hirsch is sitting right next to us here, because I'm looking at this story here. Michigan judge insurers
What kind of a
Michigan.
judge?
Michigan.
Michigan.
It's a new place just south of Idaho.
Is that right next to Oompa
Yes,
Loopaville?
thank you
That's
very much.
the Indian reservation.
Michigan,
Sell fireworks.
Michigan, yeah.
But you don't make many mistakes.
Anyways,
I got to capitalize on one or two.
What were you smoking out there at the break between the first show?
Nothing.
Is it
Remember, I
catching up with
pretty
you?
much quit.
Or is that a flashback from
It's
your
a mix
LSD
between
days?
Kentucky Bluegrass and Cincinnati.
All right, but we digress. Go
In
ahead.
Michigan, judge says insurers can still use credit scores to determine rates. How do you feel about that, Ian?
I think that is the most illogical conclusion that any judge could ever make. It's something that he knows nothing about. These credit scores are the most arbitrary, inconclusive, far-fetched mathematical equation. It's just terrible.
They really mean nothing, don't they?
Well, I mean, they really do. They mean nothing. I can manipulate credit scores. I know how to manipulate somebody's credit score.
Got Tony Liu on the line. Tony, welcome to the Automotive Journal. Hello.
Tony, a little gung hei fa choi. Doc Lane here. Happy New Year to you, Tony.
Hi, Doc. Hey, same to you. Gong Yi Fa Chai, and wish you the best for this new, the year of the rooster.
There was always a dream that I had running a dealership that I wish I could take a certain model of car every year and put it in a warehouse and what those cars would be worth today. Shelby Cobra Mustangs and the first, Thunderbirds and the redesign of all of these products and evolutions, SVT Mustangs. I mean, I think back to all of those cars that I wish I had just one today.
They could have picked an uglier car for that movie. They picked one that was stone silver. The thing looked like it had been...
But that's what they all were stone silver, because
it's aluminum.
If you scratched it, you just took your sandpaper out and you buffed it out.
Poker player, you're on the Automotive Journal. Hello.
I play a lot of poker in Las Vegas, and I drive a Ford Crown Vic. But I noticed that Daniel Nagano drives a Lexus SC. What would that tell about the difference in the personality?
I don't know, would that be called a tell in poker jargon?
Tracy, you're on the Automotive Journal.
Hi, Ian. If I'm at the dealership, how do I protect myself from identity theft?
Well, identity theft is the fastest growing crime in America, according to the FBI.
Well, it's the most technologically advanced car on the planet. And it does things that no other car can do. And it has a coefficient of drag of 0.26, which is the lowest coefficient of drag of any production car in the world.
Nowadays, when you go to DMV, they require, or they at least ask you if you want your Social Security number on your driver's license. Is that a good idea?
That's an option. That is an option, and I never recommend to put your Social Security number on your driver's license. It's always an option, and the answer should always be no. And if you have a driver's license with your Social Security number on it, I recommend going to the DMV and getting a different one.
I'm going to forewarn a lot of people. If you have a Wells Fargo lease of 60 months or 72 months, you're stuck.
Well, I don't know.
You're done. I mean, you're buried.
Right.
You've got an issue. Drive the vehicle to term and be with it. Now, the problem on a lease is that there's mileage restrictions.
Yep.
But if you can conform within the terms and the guise of a lease is the smartest way to go. Just ask to either speak to a manager or ask to see their fleet department or get somebody who has some experience or knowledge there, because these kids couldn't sell toilet paper to a man dying of diarrhea. Let's face it.
If toilet paper to a man dying of diarrhea?
Well, I mean, it's just a pun. I mean, you have to have a little humor in the seriousness of this.
That's a pun?
Got that in
one of the things that happens. What's the other one? Trying to sell ice cream to an Eskimo? Is that the other one? What's
trying
the other
to sell
one?
Eskimo pies to an Eskimo.
If you can't handle the payment on a car and you need to go 84 months like that, then you shouldn't have the car.
How about the worst?
How about the Mitsubishi deals?
Well, absolutely. Well, the Mitsubishi deals. How about the people that financed tax?
Oh, man.
Right.
But remember the Mitsubishi with no money down, no payments for a year? Those people bought those Mitsubishis at $35,000 and didn't make a payment for a year. And then after a year, they wanted to trade it in when the payments started coming in.
And couldn't.
And they were $15,000 upside down. Because why? Because you can get a brand new one for zero money down and zero payments a month. Why would you get a used one?
And you know what those people did then? They stopped making their payments, and that's why Mitsubishi's finance is in such trouble.
In the credit business, we get to say that the best way to get back on your feet is to skip a couple payments.
That's why they're out of the finance business.
Well,
Mitsubishi is out of
and the bottom line is consumers are making decisions based on everything except their pocketbooks. So they need to be looking at their budgets and deciding what's the best car for them, and stop letting dealerships talk them into cars they can't afford.
The Automotive Journal will capture, entertain, and inform. The Automotive Journal will retain your listeners for longer time spent listening, and your advertisers will appreciate that. Want to hear from the guests? Click track 3.
The Automotive Journal is proud to feature a number of celebrity guests. Legends in sports like John Elway and Jimmy Vasser.
Just very excited about it. We've got Gulfstream, the airplane company, on as a sponsor, and we're pretty much the last top-level professional racing series to get started, and others out already doing their race. Another first Formula One races this weekend as well.
International stars including Vina Morales.
I've done a lot of movies, but right now I'm more concentrating on doing concerts. I mean, that's what I love to do. It's different when you perform and on stage and you see the the reactions of the people right away. So it's pretty amazing.
Nationally syndicated celebrities like Jay Brown.
I'll give you a little story for your audience, if you'd like. The Toyota used to be called Toyopet back in the 50s. And I worked for a fellow by the name of Jim Bell, who had the franchise for this Toyopet.
And Bob Fitzgerald.
The Warriors have the most international players of any team in the league. You've got a Latvian, a Frenchman, a guy from Serbia and Croatia on the team. And Donald Foyle is from the island of Canouin. It's we'll go to Vegas, we'll go overseas, wherever they need to find somebody that can make baskets.
All right, admit it. It's good stuff. You're still listening. Your listeners will be too. Tell you what, click track 4 and spend an hour with the Automotive Journal. You be the judge.
Okay, gentlemen, going live in 3, 2, 1.
The Automotive Journal is on the air. News, information, and discussion about automotive retail sales with 3 industry insiders. Jim Armstrong.
After this many years in the business, what you see is what you get. And the way I look at it, if you don't want the truth, don't ask me.
Eric Ideman.
Look, I want these people to have as much information as possible. I mean, what are these guys hiding from anyway?
Doc Lane.
I have a reputation for being one of the best general managers in the country. After being in the dealership every day of my life for the last 42 years, I have an insight and an expertise that most will never have.
The Automotive Journal features interviews, your phone calls, and of course, ways to save you time and money. Now, live from Las Vegas, the Automotive Journal.
From the Weldon Studios in Las Vegas, this is the Automotive Journal, broadcasting around the globe on the Desert Sky Network. I'm still Jim Armstrong. On my left and to your right is the impeccably dressed Eric Ideman. Next to him is the hardest working GM in the business, that's Doc Lane. And our resident credit advisor and senior legal analyst, Ian Hirsch, along as always to answer your credit questions. Tonight's episode sponsored by Desert Toyota and Scion of Las Vegas. Write down our toll-free telephone number. You are going to need it. It's 1-866-820-5528. That's 1-866-820-5528. This is the show that focuses on the issues of the automotive industry from an insider's perspective. If you've ever had questions about a car deal you're thinking about, want advice about your credit, or you're just wondering what the heck goes on behind the scenes of a major dealership, this is the show for you. We're packed. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. I've got some interesting emails from listeners tonight. And Eric, it's been a busy week for you in the world.
Yeah, it's been a busy week in California, where it's been very busy, actually. They want to, I've been watching this wire go through all week long and see how this goes down, but they want to give a 3-day cooling off period for anyone to buy a used car in the state of California. That's the next liberal idea out there.
A cooling off period?
Right. Apparently they don't trust people's right to make their own decision, and so the government's going to come in and make a decision for them and allow them to back out of a car deal after 3 days, mandatory in the state.
You know, in New York, apparently you can't even take the car home with you when you want to go in and buy it. The state has come in and said, no, you can't have it. I know you say you want it, but you can't take it home with you until that cooling off period has expired. So there is no such thing as a spot delivery.
Yeah, they want to charge some kind of restocking fee for the vehicle. Now you ask me if you go and buy a car and take it back, and then someone else goes and tries to buy the car, are you going to buy it sight unseen after it's been out on the road, someone else been driving it and buy it as a new vehicle?
This is all great reasons why I gave up my California citizenship 2 years ago. I mean, it's just basically almost impossible to operate in that state with the legislatures and the pending laws. And we have contact every day in California with a huge dealer mass up there and people. And it's just, one thing after another. And it was, again, not unsuspecting to us here at the Automotive Journal to see an article about Arnold Schwarzenegger, who is losing his power, his clout, and his respectability. And obviously, an actor is an actor.
He's disappointing, isn't he? I mean, he started out with some good ideas and some good incentives, but it isn't working out the way he wanted it to.
He is a supporter of the dealer body in California, but the consumer advocates, and there are so many legislators and attorneys, Ian, in California.
Well, shouldn't we welcome all our new listeners in the state of California before we start bashing to the whole state?
Well, we do have quite a few listeners in the Bay Area now, and welcome to those people coming in board with us. But it almost seems as though California is so forward-thinking that they're walking backwards. That's my opinion.
California just wants to be first to do everything and go far, far ahead before they even think about what they're going to do.
Right.
And so, I mean, as far as emission standards are concerned, safety requirements, all these things, some of the ideas are good, but they're putting mandatory safeguards on these things before the manufacturers and the dealers are ready to deal with them, and all that does is raise cost disproportionately.
Well, yeah, and every time we get involved with politics with California, we're always looking forward to another 5 years of head-scratching, trying to figure out what they were trying to do.
I wish the Border Patrol would set up the, reallocate their theory instead of protecting the border from immigrants who are hard workers coming across the country. I wish the Border Patrol would protect us here in Nevada from these California attorneys that are streaming through on a daily basis, bringing a lot of their potential wares to our state.
Yeah.
The first written evidence of attorney bashing goes back several hundred years to the Chinese back in the Ming Dynasty.
And perhaps you should reintroduce yourself tonight and exactly what you do, so that we do have a resident counsel here sitting with us.
That's right.
My name is Ian Hirsch with the law offices of Cristalline Associates. Not an attorney. I'm the senior credit analyst over there.
Well, we wanted to make sure that you knew how to take the fifth.
Maybe they could just reverse the borders.
Legally, he can't say he's an attorney.
Instead of keeping everybody out, we'll just start putting people that have been out, we'll just leave them out there. Oh, I'm sorry, you went to Mexico. Do you have a way to get back in? I can't help you. What else is happening in the news out there?
All kinds of stuff. I mean, did you see what happened to Ford and GM's bonds today? They were downgraded by S&P to junk status. That means all the debt that is outstanding with Ford and with General Motors has been downgraded to junk status. You remember the days of the junk bonds.
They were threatening to do that for quite some time, so it finally happened in today.
Yeah, and I mean, yesterday GM's shares had a real boost with Kokorian purchasing up. He owns now 9% of General Motors.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Well, one thing about General Motors, and we continue to discuss, their ups and downs, but have you ever looked at the people on GM's board? I mean, where these muffin heads come from?
Haven't seen it. Where are they
from?
It
is absolutely redundant. Let me give you a case in point. And none of these people have automotive backgrounds at all. And I don't know how the politics work with putting people on boards, but generally there doesn't seem to be any people on the board of directors that have any common ground with the industry that they're allegedly representing. I'll give you one case in point. This female, Ellen Kuhlman, she's the vice president for safety and protection of DuPont. DuPont maybe makes paint. Edward Pfeffer, he was formerly a CEO of Compaq Computer. I mean, where's the relationship there? How about this bird? John Bryan, the retired chairman of Sara Lee Corporation.
I love their pound cake. I mean, their pound cake. I mean, have you had their pound cake, though?
No,
they can't make a car, but they can bake some cookies.
Dessert days are over for a man like myself. But, I mean, what is this? You hit it on the head. Maybe these guys get in the boardroom there at GM?
Well,
millions of people livelihood and said, John, did you bring the pound cake today?
Well, I mean, that could be the deal. I mean, if I had somebody to put on my board, I'd put the guy from Entenmann's. I love I can't get it, that banana cake with the frosting with the chocolate on top. I mean, but I'm also on Lipitor now for my cholesterol.
Now, Eric's recommendation would be somebody from Seattle. We'd have to have Starbucks there.
That's right.
Okay.
Well, I don't know.
Let me tell you, though, the Doc makes a good point, though. They think just because you ran one company that you can run any company.
Right.
And with a company that's in trouble like Ford, going to junk bond status, and a company that's in trouble like GM, they cannot just go pick somebody because they ran a big company once. They need to know what they're doing.
There's a couple of more comedians on this board. There's a guy by the name of Percy Barnevik. Okay, he's the retired Swedish chairman of a pharmaceutical company. I mean, come on. He's allegedly known as the Jack Welch of Europe, and Jack Welch was with General Electric. They've got this other guy, George Fisher. He was from Eastman Kodak, but there always is a shill in everything. And this cat, Erskine Bowles,
Erskine Bowles
was a chief of staff for Clinton.
Yeah,
right.
He was. He was a big shot in the Clinton.
And so, here's a guy. He gets either deposed or he's not doing a job. And Bill gets on the phone, and I can't do a Bill Clinton imitation, can you?
Well, how you doing there? Oh,
Rick, can you get my boy a job? How about that? And can you slide a Hummer in the garage?
Right. Well, the best impression I can do is nice beret.
Yes.
One thing I don't know, what kind of car does that Clinton drive?
Well, I think any car he wants. He likes the ones with back seats, if you know what I mean.
Well, I'm sure that, but I mean seriously, you know what kind of the guy never, ever was tuned into the car business.
I think he owned one car in his whole life because he was always either away at college or then in public service. He had a Ford Mustang, if I'm not mistaken, an old Ford Mustang.
By the way, I do want to follow up, not to take you guys off the path, but on a serious note, the new Pope Benedict, and I, made mention, I talked about, Pope John's Pope-mobile, but the new Pope is getting a BMW Pope-mobile.
Really? Not
a
bad choice. Well, that's probably pretty nice.
Being from Germany, that would make sense.
Yeah. Is Cologne in Germany?
Yeah.
Yeah,
yes.
Well, that's where it's being made.
Yes.
So apparently the lad is going to Cologne and going to be stepping into his new ride.
Well, speaking of the Pope, we have breaking news on the Pope on another one of his automobiles, don't we? Did you hear about this on eBay?
No.
Okay, well, today, Pope Benedict's old car that he had, his last car that he owned before becoming the Pope, was a Beetle. And it sold today on eBay for $250,000 to a casino in Texas. And it's called the I forget the name of the casino, but it's in Texas. They bought his Bug for $250,000.
Wow!
So it's only upside down.
I wonder if they're going to try to.
I mean, let's give credit. Let's give credit where credit is due. Kagorkian is known for being involved. He's not known to be a pacifist when it comes to these types of things. So I think we're going to have to keep an eye on that company for now. See what happens.
He needs vision. They don't have vision.
Yeah,
he doesn't have vision.
Right. Well, I've got more information about GM. They're facing yet another U.S. probe. I know we're all shocked by that. We'll talk about that after the break.
A cupcake with every purchase of a Chevrolet.
731-1230 is the number, or 866-820-5528. Join the party. This is the Automotive Journal.
There ain't no cooling off period here. The Automotive Journal returns right after this.
Hello, Mrs. Johnson. Let's see, before we close on your mortgage loan, I want to make sure you remember Mike.
Hello.
And as you know, he's African-American like you, so you can trust him.
And that's important, because here's the low monthly payment and interest rate you were promised, and here's where it triples. Plus, we buried a balloon payment in there, so you'll need another loan just to pay that off.
Another loan?
But we'll keep giving you loans.
Until we eventually take all the equity you had in your house, leaving you with absolutely nothing.
What? But don't worry. We're going to sell you credit life insurance. You don't really need it, but we sell it at 5 times the cost.
Which puts a ton of cash in our pockets.
Wait, whoa. Don't get up. You look nervous.
Ooh, we better hurry up and get you to sign, or if you don't, I can pretend to ruin your credit with one phone call.
Predatory lenders are never this easy to spot. Call us at 866-222-FAIR and protect yourself with the facts. A public service announcement brought to you by the National Fair Housing Alliance and the Ad Council.
Hello, I'm Faith Hill. You know the expression, practice makes perfect? Well, maybe nowhere is that more true than in music. Music study is one of the most valuable ways that a student can spend time. A young person who practices and studies music reinforces teamwork, communication skills, self-discipline, and creativity. All the qualities that kids need to be successful in their other schoolwork. As parents, think about encouraging your children to try out several instruments at school until they find the one that really clicks. Talk to the school's music teacher about finding affordable lessons so your child can see his or her progress as time goes by. And please don't forget that your kids all have an instrument that's free and sounds wonderful, their voices.
A back-to-school PSA brought to you by MENC, the National Association for Music Education, Gibson Guitar, Baldwin Piano, and this station. Music, it wires the brain for learning.
Introducing Pure Chill, the latest accessory from Scion. Pure Chill is how you feel as you buy your Scion XA, XB, or TC, knowing that thanks to pure pricing, you'll always pay the dealer's advertised price. No stress, no haggling. The XA and XB start at well under $15,000, and the TC starts at well under $17,000. And another accessory, Pure Adrenaline. It's It's what you experience when you drive your new Scion off the lot after customizing it inside and out with accessories to make it look, sound, and drive exactly how you want.
To find out more, click SCION.com or cruise your local Scion dealer. MSRP includes delivery, processing, and handling fee, excludes taxes, title, license, and optional equipment. Actual dealer price may vary. Scion, what moves you?
Experience the cool deals at Desert Toyota and Scion on West Sahara between Jones and Rainbow. The right choice.
Spring is here, and now's the time to see and drive the all-new 2005 Toyota lineup. Right now, Desert Toyota has the all-new Prius Hybrid in stock. Choose from a wide variety of colors and equipment packages. Prius, the world's only true hybrid. Or if it's stylish design with high performance you want, the all-new 2005 Avalon is the car for you. In stock now at Desert Toyota. The all-new Avalon, a standard of luxury exceeded only by a standard of safety. And as always, Desert Toyota has a nice inventory of Toyota certified used vehicles. All come with a 160-point quality assurance inspection, roadside assistance, and limited warranty. And don't forget about Desert Toyota's 1-cent oil change, a special from their clean, modern service department. Available on any Toyota model. Tell them John Elway.
I know who I'm going to call.
Call Desert Toyota Scion on West Sahara between Rainbow and Jones.
This is the only show where you get to hear words like Muffin Head. This is the Automotive Journal.
We're multilingual.
Absolutely.
It is the Automotive Journal broadcasting live from Las Vegas. Reach us at 731-1230. Outside the state, you can reach us at 866-820-5528. I promise I'll get to your call tonight if and when you, in fact, decide to call in. I was talking about GM facing off another U.S. probe. General Motors faces another safety investigation. 1.28 million Silverado pickup trucks, Yukons, SUVs, and similar light trucks because of corrosion on the brake parts that recalled in Canada. Again, GM having problems. I don't know how to solve it. I really don't.
Cheaper is not better, and everybody is aware that every automobile is a component of a variety of manufacturers.
Right.
Absolutely correct. I mean, they're not General Motors isn't just building their cars anymore. They're buying pieces and sometimes just putting together pieces that they buy from other suppliers.
When I was out in Arizona a couple of weeks ago and we were talking about government contracts, and I was over at the proving grounds for GM, a vendor is of no different than a government contract. If Jim Armstrong Brake Company comes to me at GM and Eric Ideman Brake Company is there, and your brakes are a minuscule lesser quality for 13 cents less than his,
we'll take it.
We'll take it, and you're going to live in Grosse Pointe, Michigan, and you're going to live in Gary, Indiana. I mean, there's a lot of heartbreak when it comes to anticipation of counting on these suppliers and these contracts to these individuals. And yet their quality is of the same susceptibility with employees, employee issues, people showing up for work, benefits, the whole deal.
Well, and then they start building products made from steel and whatnot from other countries that we know already have far, far inferior quality to them, and that just compounds that same problem, and that's happening all the time.
You fellas are not in the side of the business that I'm have to face with daily, but daily a commodity report comes from all of the manufacturers. Even our manufacturer, Toyota, there's a commodity report. They do run out of components. For example, in a Toyota 4Runner, anticipate that if you want one, you're going to have a V8 because the V6s are being displaced to other vehicles, particularly the Tacoma and other vehicles that we're selling. So, if you're going to want a 4Runner, you're going to get a V8. And if not, then you're going to pay and pay and pay for the scarcity of a 6-cylinder.
Well, you'd rather have not enough than have too much. Like, that's the problem that Ford and, we joke around and say, like, hey, the new 2004s are still coming in, but it's really scary.
And one thing, even though it's a Toyota and it's a V8, I have to say that the 4Runner is the best product that we make with the most fuel-efficient V8 I've ever seen.
Well, you talk about Toyota. Part of the problem that you're going to have with Toyota coming up in the very, very near future is that availability is going to be almost zero. You talk about the Tacoma, that's Motor Trend's Truck of the Year for the Tacoma product. Annually last year they sold 53,743. This year, 117,530.
Yikes.
We were talking about a 12% increase for Toyota across the board last week. This is not 12%. This is almost 110% increase.
Wow. Yeah,
and that's on a single truck line.
No, it's worse. It's worse than that. You know, I was at a Toyota meeting today. We were told today, point blank, availability of new Toyota product, don't expect any until Q4.
Wow.
That's it. I mean, the bottom line of it is, and we're going into prime selling season. Las Vegas is a selling season as opposed to a lot of other communities in California and Washington where our voice starts to reach now. Mm-hmm. But, you know, we are seasonal here, and our season is going to be not a harvest of plenty because we just will not have the merchandise to handle the demand.
Yeah.
And a year ago, we had a decent supply, but we had gas prices at what, $1.69, $1.79? What was gas in Vegas last year?
You know, it was in the mid-dollar, $1.50 to upper $1.50 range.
You know, they raised the prices of gas. I was out last night, and it was blowing like a hoot owl here in the Las Vegas desert, and it was amazing to see all of the gas stations. And, you know, many of our consumers that or our listeners that come to Las Vegas don't realize how many gas stations we have here in town. I mean, there are tons of gas stations and new gas stations being developed and built. Jim, you and I in the Bay Area, I can't recall a new gas station being built or erected.
No.
But, you know, it's kind of funny last night to watch them changing the prices. They have these huge poles that interchange the prices, and they weren't changing 3 of those numbers. They were leaving the 2 there, taking the middle number out, and everything was $2.39, $49, $59. I think today it's $2.59, $69, $79.
Yeah, and we're higher than the national average, which is $2.27. And the backlash from all of this is that the latest wire that I saw that came across on Wednesday had SUV sales down significantly because of the rising gas prices, which are going to spell big trouble for Ford in that regard. Also, oh yeah, all right. I don't know how Doc gets these things, but here's my 2006 Explorer exploring a new look. It doesn't look all that much different to me, and that's part of the problem there. It looks just like the 2005. I guess the grill's a little bit different. That's about it.
You know,
I get
a lot
spy shot. Is that where'd you get that, Doc?
Well, you know, I can't reveal all of my sources, and this is a glossy that came out of Ford through an unnamed source, which makes our show unique. We have sources of information that nobody has, and this is a glossy photograph that I just passed to Eric of the new 2006 Ford Explorer.
Looks exactly the same.
It also has a little press bio, but Eric, do you see anything on there about safety? You know, as tarnished as this vehicle is, we've lost, you know, people close to us on the show have become deceased because of accidents recently, and Paulie Gonzalez. Mm-hmm. The vehicle sales are off 25%. They're terminating
roof safety, big issue also.
What they call the Sport Track. This model was half car, half truck, sailproof. These vehicles through the auction, 2000, 2001, 2002s, particularly the Eddie Bauer model, has no viability at all in terms of value. These things are going for $5,000 and $6,000 back a wholesale.
Well, when you get, you know, I don't know what the mileage is on those Explorers, but do they even make the Excursion? And that big?
No, they killed that.
They killed that. I mean, well, at 8 or 10 miles per gallon, I mean, you almost have to.
It didn't fit in anybody's garage.
It was
too,
ridiculous.
was part of the problem.
It didn't fit in anybody's garage, and frankly, it didn't seat that many more people. In fact, I think it seated less people than our 4Runners.
Well, look at that safety. You talked about safety, Doc. Ford just fought internet posting of the NHTSA's roof crush
Speaking
statistics.
Of fought, did you know that the Contender is sponsored by Toyota? Even the Contender, the fight show, coming to an end. The finish is going to be here at Caesars.
Go with a big horse, right?
That's
the
right.
Automotive Journal will return. Stay there.
Don't go away. These guys are hitting on all cylinders. This is the Automotive Journal.
You're listening to KLAV Las Vegas.
Okay, thanks for coming to tonight's Neighborhood Watch meeting. Lots has happened since we last met. Priscilla?
Thanks, Bob. No new graffiti to report. The park cleanup was a huge success, thanks to Dora for the baked goods. And our new assignment is to keep watch on the reservoir.
Great. Lastly, we've gotten a contribution of walkie-talkies for the patrol team. Please pass those out. Ooh, cool. Should make communicating a lot easier.
Check. Is this thing on? I'm reading you, good buddy. This here's a rubber ducky. Kick it back. I got my ears on here. Oh, we got ourselves a convoy.
Are we done yet, gentlemen?
10-4, good buddy.
Good. As I was saying, the Chans are away this week, so let's keep an eye on their place, okay? Any questions?
5th floor, evening wear and power tools. You want fries for that?
Good night, everyone. Be safe.
Welcome to Neighborhood Watch, where it isn't just about watching out for crime. It's about watching your neighborhood come together. To find a neighborhood watch near you or to start one on your block, log on to usaonwatch.org. A public service message brought to you by the Crime Prevention Coalition of America, the U.S. Department of Justice, USA Freedom Corps, and the Ad Council.
Hello, unemployment office. Can I help you?
Yeah, I'm looking for a job.
Okay, what kind of experience do you have?
Well, I've taken out all the bosses in Roads of Vengeance 1, 2, and 3.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and I've just completed level 63 of Elves and Elements.
Wow, so you're a game programmer.
Not really, I just play 'em.
Okay, let's start with high school. Did you finish that?
What system is that for?
The education system?
Oh, is that 64-bit?
Excuse me?
Yeah, I don't think there's very many games for that console.
Okay, could you hold on? I'm going to connect you to our gaming department.
Great.
High school dropouts earn an average of 42% less than graduates.
Hello? Hello?
Some earn even less. Stay in school. Give yourself a chance. For more info, go to OperationGraduation.com. Brought to you by the U.S. Army and Ad Council.
Hi, Jim Armstrong here, co-host of the Automotive Journal. Isn't it nice to know that in today's car buying climate, there are still people you can count on to give you straight answers when it comes to buying your next vehicle? I want to challenge you to call Desert Toyota and Scion. With incentive interest rates at an all-time low, you could be driving a brand new Toyota for as low as 0% financing OAC. And that's not all. Right now, Desert Toyota has a rare supply of Prius vehicles available. These Prius is recognized as Motor Trend's Car of the Year. That's right, Prius hybrids in stock. I'll tell you what, when the show is over, do yourself a favor, jump on the phone and dial 871-4111. Ask for me. I'll set up a time for you to get together with me. Stop by. You'll be amazed at how you can get things done at Desert Toyota and Scion. No BS, no hidden numbers, just real deals with you in mind. And while you're at it, why don't you check the Review Journal today for the latest specials from Desert Toyota and Scion, the right choice.
What drives you? How about all your favorite Toyotas? Let's go! Including a great selection, like the stylin' legendary Camry, the roomy smooth-riding Highlander, and the always tough, powerful V6 Tacoma. Motor Trend 2005 Truck of the Year. Toyota has 17 models to choose from, and now you can get incredible lease deals, super low APRs, and great customer cash offers. There's never been a better time to pick out your favorite Toyota, and with the variety of models you'll find at your Toyota dealer now, you'll want to get into the right one for you as soon as possible. Visit Toyota.com or your local Toyota dealer and drive away in one of Toyota's incredible cars, trucks, and SUVs today. What drives you? Toyota selection. Now that's moving you forward. Motor Trend, February 2005.
Moving you forward, Desert Toyota and Scion of Las Vegas, proud sponsors of the Automotive Journal on West Sahara between Jones and Rainbow. Call 871-4111. Desert Toyota and Scion, the right choice.
California, here I come. Not this is the Automotive Journal.
Every Friday night from 7 to 9, coming to you live from the city lights of Las Vegas. It is the Automotive Journal. I am Jim Armstrong. Eric Ideman to my left and to your right. Doc Lane next to him, and Ian Hirsch picking up the rear.
The rear?
California getting hit tonight, but
I'm picking up the rear.
I think Wisconsin took the brunt last week. So
right.
Hey, what goes around comes around.
What were you saying, Doctor, in the breakout? You were talking about something over there.
Well, let's talk about jobs in the automobile industry. You know, the Big Three has cut 130,000 jobs since the year 2000. You know, I held sales meetings for 25, 30 years every Saturday morning when I was back in the Bay Area. And I've got a lot of my old salespeople that I stay in touch with that do listen to the show, that stay in contact with me. And, when they do call me, they say, Doc, you are absolutely right, because I said that within 10 years that the only manufacturers that would still be standing would be Toyota, Honda, and Ford. Well, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. But as we look around in the world global employment and to see who's hiring and who's not, in a 5-year period, BMW has hired an additional 6,000 people. Ford has reduced their workforce by over 60,000 people. That's 60,000 people.
60,000.
But the sleepers are Mercedes has increased their employment. Toyota has increased their employment with steady progress growth. And as we know, Toyota will soon be opening up its 6th plant here in North America, in San Antonio, Texas, which again last week we had even a lady who called in because we gave the employment number out in San Antonio because they are starting to hire their line workers down there even though the plant is not up.
It's amazing that it's such an extreme. They're just on such opposite poles of the highs and the lows of where they're going here, from the big three to the non-big three in the United States.
And there is no ending in sight of specialty cars in terms of the high-dollar Mercedes. We cracked into Wynn of Las Vegas, and for our listening audience, that's the latest hotel here to open in Las Vegas, which is a $2.7 billion project by Steve Wynn, and its grand opening to the public was last Thursday night. We allowed things to cool off. My daughter had come down from San Francisco and my wife, and we had taken a tour of the hotel, got in there Sunday, and actually it was relatively easy to get in, but the fascinating part of this is that there is a Ferrari Maserati dealership within the confines of the hotel, and Steve Wynn partnered up with Roger Penske. Penske owns the United Auto Group along with hundreds and thousands of other entity businesses. He was, one of the great things that Penske did. Penske had a great relationship with General Motors. I mean, he was a car man, and he obviously doesn't have much connection with them now because he's, off into doing different things. But, the least expensive car that they have in this Wynn showroom is $250,000, and they have a crowd control to allow you into the Ferrari Maserati dealership there at Wynn, and they have already sold out their allocation for the year, which is quite amazing.
Are they having a slasher sale over there or something?
No, that's the farthest thing that they're going to have from there.
I heard,
it's more like a museum. I mean, it's the ultimate fantasy. But I was talking to one of the Wynn employees, and we do have connections with some of the individuals that are the proprietors of that, and they do anticipate that they could make more money from the T-shirts, cups, hats,
merchandising,
and the Ferrari merchandising.
Yeah, I heard that the waiting list for one of those Ferraris is like 3 years.
Depending upon what the model is. And they are going to Ferrari we kind of got into the network from confidential information that buying a Ferrari is a very technical process. There's a lot of falsified companies because they don't want to sell them to individuals because Ferrari has a no-no about selling the cars over MSRP, which is the manufacturer's suggested retail price. Well, market value of a limited edition Ferrari can be anywhere from $200,000 to $300,000 to $400,000 over manufacturer's suggested retail. So you have these people, you got these people coming in that got the bucks and the way to go. And so what they're doing is, so Ferrari, if they find out that that's what you've done, for example, if Jim Armstrong goes to Wynn Ferrari and buys a Ferrari and you pay MSRP to them, but you sell it in 90 days for $200,000 or $300,000 over MSRP, they will never sell you another one again. So what these guys are doing is they're coming up with these companies, and they're coming up into these like offshore companies and this and that, and there's guys that are out there scamming 5 and 6 of these. So if you scam 5 or 6 Ferraris in a year at $250,000, the year's done.
It's a nice year.
That's not bad.
Yeah, I
it'd be a
wouldn't
nice
mind that.
Yeah, and you're not going to tell Uncle Whiskers that about the tax part of it.
I was in there looking at a lease on one of their cup holders there, and $8,000 a month.
Well, I've got news for you, Ian. They don't have cup holders in Ferraris.
They've got the
Well, they should.
employees dressed in Ferrari driver suits, even down to the shoes.
Amazing. Well, how much are those shoes?
They are, the Ferrari racing shoes, I think, are $365 or $375.
Can you lease them?
I think everything there is a lease. I've never seen such a hotel with exorbitant pricing in my life. And I've been here in Vegas since I've been a kid, in and out and between the Bay Area. But I'm going to tell you something. I mean, a pork chop dinner, pork chops.
Right.
Now, what would you think pork chops in their cafe would be?
I don't know, maybe, $300 down and $68 a month.
You're close. I mean, $29.95 in the cafe. I mean, that's not even getting into anything. And, of course, this array of shops. And, it's like everybody's with their hand out. But the fascinating part is this poker business. The least expensive poker I saw was $50, $100. Now, you're used to what?
If I'm
playing, $1, $2.
If I can play for 50 cents
and the joint was packed.
Well,
early reports say that in order for Steve Wynn to break even, he's got to be $3 million a day.
That's a lot of pork chops.
$3 million a day.
You know what? From what I saw there, I'd say he's going to make it. He's always had made it. But what I found out was that he has Penske's name on there, and there's an ordinance here in Vegas that you cannot be open with a new car franchise on Sundays. I mean, it is a law.
No, I think it's actually a gentleman's agreement.
No, it's a law.
Is it really?
Yeah, it went through the process, but again, they skirted around that they are able to be open because they're classifying themselves as a museum, but you can't take delivery and buy one.
A museum.
I wondered how they were going to pull that off. We did talk about that last week, so you went and checked it out. And I guess the first car was sold on Sunday, too.
No. That's not accurate. They pre-sold 19 before the hotel opened.
Oh, is that right?
And then when the hotel opened, they sold another 21. And basically, we know that Ferrari front-loaded them. Now, here's the ironic thing about it. In Redwood City, California, they just also opened a Ferrari franchise on El Camino Real, just on the outskirts of Atherton, California, which is one of the most affluent areas in the country. According to AOL, I saw the 10 most affluent communities. And, this guy has a Ferrari dealership in Beverly Hills, and he just, again, says that the majority of people don't think that the Internet and electronic business is dead. This guy's sold out of his allocation, too.
Amazing. Yeah, well, I mean, you talk about these Porsches. You can go to Germany to take possession of your Porsche. You buy a Porsche and you say
European delivery.
Yeah, and I think that it'd be more exciting to do a Las Vegas delivery. I'd buy it in.
That's what it is.
Buy it.
That's what it is. That's
Georgia
what it is.
Come to Vegas.
I wouldn't bank on anybody making $500,000 at the crap table.
Well, certainly not me, correct?
Let's keep them coming.
Right. 731-1230 is the number, 731-1230, the Automotive Journal. Let's switch gears now to go to the automotive expert. Neil Carroll, what's in your mailbag tonight?
Hey, Jim, how you doing tonight?
Very well, my friend, thank you.
Great. Well, let's see. I got an interesting email from a listener out in Texas, and he was asking about four-wheel drive off-roading and what kind of equipment he needs and what he should be looking for on some vehicles. So
that's a tall order. Can you do that in 3 minutes?
I think so.
All right, go.
Basically, let's just address a Toyota 4Runner, okay? Great, proven off-road car. What you've got to look for is a limited slip center differential, especially one that's a locking differential, is real good equipment to have on when you're off-road. Basically, that sends torque back and forth between any wheels that are slipping out in loose sand or what have you. The suspension is very important. Gas-charged shocks to improve the ride over very bumpy surfaces. Toyota takes it one step further. We use something that they call an X-Arius sport enhancement suspension, which basically it takes the diagonal suspensions, the left rear to the right front, and they will balance those wheels diagonally as well as horizontally, so for a much smoother, safer ride. Next thing you need is what we call multi-mode four-wheel drive. That is true shift on the fly four-wheel drive, where you can come out of two-wheel drive, four-wheel high, and four-wheel low. Very important. Another critical thing is the amount of ground clearance that you have. It's recommended that you have a minimum 9-inch ground clearance. 10 to 12 inches is even better. Toyota has a unique system called the rear height control air suspension. If you're on level ground, the vehicle sits level. If you're going off-road, you can actually hike up the back end, so you have a much better feel for off-roading, what they call the departure angle as you're going up.
Hey, Neil, let me ask you the million-dollar question here.
Shoot.
Where do you practice to be a four-wheel driver?
Where do you practice?
Yeah, where do you practice?
That's a good question. Well, around here, it's fairly easy. You get about 20 miles out of town, and you've got...
I'm sure,
you got
20 miles out of town. I mean, you know, what one mistake, one hang-up on the rocks? I mean, come on, man. I mean, this four-wheel drive, I mean, does anybody really four-wheel drive? Come on, man. I mean...
Sure, actually, there's a lot of people. In fact, just outside of town, right near the Speedway, there's a whole off-road area out there. In fact, that's where you would go to practice, I guess.
Well, you're not going to go practice with a car you're driving up and down the street. I mean, why don't we define what the four-wheel driving to, you know, the average listener out there may be? It's a hobby, isn't it?
Right. Oh, it's a hobby. Right.
It's a rich man's sport.
Here's the one that I like. It's a hobby out here, maybe, but not if you're somewhere where there's 4 feet of snow out there.
Yeah, in fact, Eric brings up a good point. I get a lot of calls from people who say, in fact, I had one just yesterday. They live in Ely, a lot of snow up there, and four-wheel drive is not just recreational. That's practical. I mean, they really need it.
Try driving in Colorado.
Well,
Colorado, a lot of places in and around. But
let me ask you a question. Okay, you know, I mean, I'm from paradise, but you know, you still got to chain up, right, with a four-wheel drive?
Not necessarily.
Well, come on, Eric. I mean, Eric's here.
No,
I mean,
you don't need
the
to.
man. You're the will-o'-the-wisp.
You only really need chains if
you've
it's
got
real bad out there.
Come on.
If you've got snow tires.
What if there's ice? What if there's ice underneath the snow? I mean, I don't know how you loons in the back east drive.
If there's military vehicles going by you with the National Guard in them, you probably have chains on your truck. If not, you're okay.
You know, you better shake your head. Your eyes are stuck.
Well, you know what I like is the 52-year-old couple that comes in and buys a Land Cruiser 4x4 because they're going to take that $70,000 vehicle up a tree.
Yeah,
well, what I tell them is most of the people who buy four-wheel drive vehicles, they consider off-road as when you pull off the freeway and go into the shopping mall.
Neil Carroll, thanks very much for being a part of this, my friend. We appreciate you. We'll see you next time.
Stuck on the boat ramp with your boat in the water.
The Automotive Journal continues with your phone calls at 731-1230. The Automotive Journal.
Look out, these guys are shifting on the fly. The Automotive Journal continues right after this.
You put your keys between your knuckles. You walk in well-lit areas. Stay clear of parked vans. Someone approaches you and you cross to the other side of the street. Your cell phone is ready, the numbers for help saved on speed dial. You lock the door behind you, once, twice, maybe 3 times. Now you feel safe, secure. You think you've made the right choices to protect yourself. Think again. Because if you're not making healthy choices, you could be one of the nearly 2 out of 3 women killed by cancer, diabetes, heart disease, or stroke. So eat right, get active, don't smoke, see your doctor, and live. Learn to protect yourself from yourself at 1-866-399-6789 or visit us at everydaychoices.org. A message from the American Cancer Society, American Diabetes Association, American Heart Association, and the Ad Council.
In 1941, the USO was born to honor and comfort the men and women of our armed forces around the world. Men and women who have put our dreams and our futures above their own, who protect and defend the freedoms we hold so dear. And burning in every one of their hearts is a singular, undeniable desire to come home, to return to the ones they love, to realize their dreams, to be free and at peace. And so the USO will carry on, to touch their spirits, to comfort them, to remind them, to simply and heartfully thank them for the extraordinary gift they give us all. Wherever and whenever they go, until every brow is soothed and every hand is held, until every song is sung and every battle won, until everyone comes home. To find out more about the USO, visit us at uso.org.
Hi, Jim Armstrong here, co-host of the Automotive Journal. Isn't it nice to know that in today's car buying climate, there are still people you can count on to give you straight answers when it comes to buying your next vehicle? I want to challenge you to call Desert Toyota and Scion. With incentive interest rates at an all-time low, you could be driving a brand new Toyota for as low as 0% financing OAC. And that's not all. Right now, Desert Toyota has a rare supply of Prius vehicles available. These Priuses recognized as Motor Trend's Car of the Year. That's right, Prius hybrids in stock. I'll tell you what, when the show is over, do yourself a favor, jump on the phone and dial 871-4111. Ask for me. I'll set up a time for you to get together with me. Stop by. You'll be amazed at how you can get things done at Desert Toyota and Scion. No BS, no hidden numbers, just real deals with you in mind. And while you're at it, why don't you check the Review Journal today for the latest specials from Desert Toyota and Scion, the right choice.
Introducing Pure Chill, the latest accessory from Scion. Pure Chill is how you feel as you buy your Scion X8, XP, or TC, knowing that thanks to pure pricing, you'll always pay the dealer's advertised price. No stress, no haggling. The X8 and XP start at well under $15,000, and the TC starts at well under $17,000. And another accessory? Pure Adrenaline. It's what you experience when you drive your new Scion off the lot after customizing it inside and out with accessories to make it look, sound, and drive exactly how you want.
To find out more, click scion.com or cruise your local Scion dealer. MSRP includes delivery, processing, and handling fees, excludes taxes, title, license, and optional equipment. Actual dealer price may vary. Scion, what moves you?
Experience the cool deals at Desert Toyota and Scion on West Sahara between Jones and Rainbow, the right choice.
I've been to the Wynn. I have a cup of coffee on layaway. 2 more payments and that baby's mine. This is the Automotive Journal.
Live from Las Vegas, the Automotive Journal, every Friday night from 7 to 9. I am Jim Armstrong. Eric Ideman, Doc Lane, and Ian Hirsch, all part of this show. You can be a part of it as well at 731-1230, 731-1230.
Let me tell you, for those of you that are back east, why don't you call in and defend me here? Doc's telling me that we don't need four-wheel drive. And he sure hasn't been going up a
I'm
hill.
not telling you don't need four-wheel
No, but
drive.
listen to me, though. Going up a hill with ice and snow, you're in first gear, you're pushing on the gas, and you're going backwards. Okay?
When I was younger,
that's
I
no
used to
fun.
go uphill in snow both ways. I used to, to
yeah,
school.
right.
And
that's right.
with
And
no
then the car
four-wheel
starts
drive.
going sideways, and I don't know how the four-wheel drive is going to help you when you're going sideways down the hill.
I grew up
but,
with one-wheel drive.
I don't know. You're from Connecticut. I met a guy, Bill and Al, over at the Hoffen House last week. These guys claim that they were the designers of the Hubble telescope. And then they were telling me about the problem. This thing didn't work very good. And they said, well, it wasn't our issue. But,
Didn't it get a
there are a
scratch
couple
or
of nice
something?
guys. Maybe
Right.
they can call in. Bill and Al in Connecticut.
I've got a 12-inch personality.
A $12 billion scratch on the Hubble telescope.
Yeah. And who was the genius that decided to turn the thing into a meteor shower to begin with?
This Al threatened to call in from Connecticut. He said he was going to listen. I gave him a card, so maybe hopefully he can call in. Or you better just give the phone
Defend
number
the
again. Put a
telescope.
call out to Al.
All right, Al, you can reach us 866-820-5528. Write it down, would you?
But
1-866-820-5528.
The automotive expert, I think you put him in the news tonight on this four-wheel drive subject. Come on. Four-wheel driving out here, you're going to go out hunting, boar and elk, and a Jeep or some type of modified vehicle. Yeah, okay.
The wild
but you're
tarantulas.
You're going to take a $50,000 vehicle? Like they emanate in the commercials with you and your kids, and you think you're going to safely four-wheel drive? What about the dust and the dirt and the mud and the potholes and the rocks? And then you come back to the dealership and say, well, my wheels are out of balance.
Yeah, and I got dings in my car.
Yeah.
You're making it sound a
Scratches
lot
on
of
the
fun.
paint.
It just sounds like a lot of fun what you just said there.
The Jim's right, though. You take a $60,000 vehicle and go out and go four-wheel drive.
I never forget that.
Please.
When I was working for place we'll call the Green Store, there was a couple that came in. They were in their late 50s, and they wanted a Land Cruiser that we had sitting there. And this Land Cruiser was a four-wheel drive, and this was their deciding factor for buying this vehicle was that it was a four-wheel drive. And they asked me as we're filling out the paperwork, now Jim, just out of curiosity, do you think you would mind teaching us how to use that four-wheel drive? I said, well, where are you planning to use it at? Well, we're going to climb trees with that thing. Now, this is a $50,000 automobile, and they're going to take this thing out there and destroy it.
Well, I mean, you could help them destroy it. I mean, doesn't it sound like fun? I mean, it really does. Just to take a $50,000 ride out there and just beat the...
Give me a $3,000 Jeep and I'll just go
I don't mean
there.
to overamplify this, but, there is a necessity with certain weather conditions that four-wheel drive prevails, even here in town. I mean, when we get the typhoons in the summertime and the rain is cascading down, four-wheel drive is a safety measure. So, I mean, I don't want to ballyhoo everything. And, January, we had in Summerlin, 2 feet of snow up there. I mean, it was a useful function a little bit to get, to work, but... I mean, come on. I mean, to think that it is a necessity that you're going to go out and the automotive expert, I don't know what was in his soup tonight. But, I mean, all that technical jive ball means nothing to the consumer.
You're probably right. I mean, it didn't mean anything to me, and I know all about the... I mean, I couldn't figure... I know that people want four-wheel drive, but then at the end of the day, it costs more on gas. It costs more wear and tear on the vehicle. And, the service department, it helps you.
I remember one time when I was in Ford, all I used to drive for a demo was a full-size Bronco. And I remember my old man was just a wise guy about everything. And so I figured, well, try to keep the bond with Dad, and let's go out and have a little bit of fun. So we kind of go off the road. And I remember 3 minutes into thing, as he had bounced up off the seat and smashed his melon in the cab of the truck. About 3 or 4 times he says,
this is no fun. Get me out of here.
Four-wheel driving does shake the kidneys up and does kind of, it really isn't any fun.
Oh, man. I think you just got beeped, Doc.
I'm pretty sure.
Well, I had a question for you, Doc. I actually had a listener that wrote me an email, and it was kind of interesting. He wanted to quiz you down a little bit because you've been an automotive GM for 32 years. So he asked a couple of questions. I had a top 10 list here.
Well, you're going to rapid fire me on something?
I'm going to go for it. You want to try it?
Give me a
All
sip
right.
of that.
He can take
We've got 2 minutes to do it. You ready?
Well, give me a sip of that Red Bull.
All right, here we go.
I'm going to try my best.
Here we go. All right, funniest customer's name.
Moultrie McGriff.
Most famous customer.
Probably Jerry Rice.
All right, your first customer name and purchase.
He was Manuel Mota and bought a 1970 Ford F-100 pickup truck with a 3 on the tree.
All right, worst day of business.
Definitely the earthquake of '89. Definitely.
Okay.
That was a devastating day.
Worst customer experience.
Unfortunately, a wife shot and killed her husband because she was not pleased with his purchase.
All right, worst car ever sold.
You go.
That was an easy one. Best car ever
think
sold.
On that one. Ferrari. I sold a Ferrari 365 GTB.
All right, best president for the automotive business. This
Definitely was Ronald Reagan.
You agree with that, Eric?
Yes.
All right, worst president for the automotive business.
No doubt about it. Jimmy Crackers Carter.
All right,
the worst.
Number. You got that.
Yes, I did get that.
All right, number 10. Question for Doc Lane, general manager for 32 years, manufacturer who spells the end of the U.S. auto greatness.
Toyota.
That was
Unfortunately,
easy enough.
that was a simple one.
Well, my friends, thanks very much for being a part of the Automotive Journal. Another hour has gone by.
Thought you'd
goes
stump
quick,
me,
doesn't
huh?
it? Well,
it does go
the
quick.
automotive
I wasn't
expert,
sure.
but you didn't stump me. I thought you were going to hit me with a four-wheel drive question.
Join us again, and you can contact us by reaching us at theautomotivejournal.com, theautomotivejournal.com. I am Jim Armstrong for Eric Ideman, Doc Lane, and Ian Hirsch. Good night.